Good morning, everyone. It's good afternoon, everyone. We're 3 minutes late. Welcome to Earth Day. Welcome to the Missouri Energy Summit on this absolutely perfect spring day. I'm John Carney, the Chancellor of Missouri University of Science and Technology in Rolla, and I have the privilege of chairing this important event. Could I ask everyone in the audience to turn off their cell phones? The Missouri Energy Summit is the first of its kind for the Show Me State. The 4 campuses of the University of Missouri system have come together to invite all Missourians and the nation to focus on energy, the cornerstone of an industrialized civilization. The United States must explore ways to increase our energy efficiency, expand and diversify our energy supply, and strengthen our energy security. At this summit, researchers, business leaders, entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, and leaders from key federal and state agencies will explore and showcase cutting-edge research and development efforts in energy, alternative fuel sources, power, storage, infrastructure, and enabling technologies. The summit will highlight our state's successes and foster enhanced collaboration in the public and private sectors, promoting economic workforce development and the transition to commercialization. We're also joined today by thousands of other people across the state who are watching these proceedings live over the internet, including members of the Missouri General Assembly watching from Jefferson City, and hundreds of elementary, middle school, junior high, and high school students who are linked up through MoreNet, one of the country's first statewide telecommunications networks, reaching public schools and libraries across Missouri. Running concurrently with the Missouri Energy Summit is a program with the Missouri School of Journalism, just across the quad from here. The J School's Reynolds Journalism Institute is extending the Missouri Energy Summit's conversation to journalists, students, and faculty across the United States. Students and faculty from the J School and other universities are linked up to discuss the importance of reporting on energy research and policy, while also highlighting some of the innovative student energy research projects underway on our 4 campuses. Over the next 2 days, you will hear from some of the nation's leading experts on energy research and energy policy. You'll hear from some of the most creative and innovative researchers in Missouri, and I would argue some of the most creative in our entire nation, who will share their ideas for moving our state and nation forward toward a more secure energy future. You'll also be able to view dozens of poster presentations by our researchers in the halls outside of this auditorium and also in the Reynolds Alumni Center across the street. While the Missouri Energy Summit is hosted by the University of Missouri system, we are partnering with some 40 Missouri businesses, private foundations, and other state and federal organizations. Our sponsors are listed on the screen. Please join me in thanking our sponsors for their generous support of this summit. This Energy Summit has also involved key leaders from all 4 of the University of Missouri system campuses and other organizations, and I would like to acknowledge some of these individuals. Our University of Missouri system president, Gary Forsey. President Forsey has called for 2 statewide economic development initiatives led by our campuses this year. Hence this Energy Summit, and another scheduled for early October in Kansas City on the life sciences. President Forsey, could you please stand? We have 4 members of the University of Missouri System Board of Curators with us today. Curator Cheryl Walker, Curator John Carnahan, the Chair of the Curators, Bo Frazier, and Curator Emeritus Tom Aikens. Could you four individuals please stand and be recognized? I would also like to introduce my fellow chancellors. University of Missouri-Columbia Chancellor Brady Deaton, our gracious host for this summit. Please join me in recognizing Chancellor Deaton. Tom George, the Chancellor of the University of Missouri-St. Louis. Tom. And Leo Morton, the Chancellor of the University of Missouri, Kansas City. Also joining us today is the mayor of our host city, Columbia Mayor Darwin Hindman, who has already welcomed our keynote speaker to town and engaged in a discussion with some of our top energy researchers and students earlier this morning. Mayor. Unable to join us in person, but with us in spirit, are our two U.S. Senators, Christopher Bond and Claire McCaskill. Both senators have sent us video greetings from their offices, and we will view these now.
Hi, I'm Kit Bond. Welcome to the first Energy Summit, designed to bring together many of the best scientists, teachers, students, entrepreneurs, and businesses from across Missouri. During this summit, you'll address one of the most important issues facing our country in this century, and that's energy. I appreciate the leadership of the University of Missouri system in driving this important discussion and collaboration. America's future depends on how we address the challenges we face today. We need long-term changes to our nation's energy policy, and our solutions must be comprehensive. Our families must have energy that is affordable, reliable, safe, and clean. We cannot fix our nation's energy problems with one windmill, a few nuclear power plants, or conservation-only solutions. We need a comprehensive energy policy that increases the production and conservation of all forms of American energy. Missouri is already leading America's search for cleaner and efficient energy sources. Missouri is a leader in the production of ethanol and biodiesel, renewable fuels, and the development and production of hybrid and plug-in vehicle batteries. We have wind farms that power entire cities, cutting-edge research on nuclear power, carbon sequestration projects to utilize our abundant supplies of coal, and new biofuels from a unique Missouri strain of algae. However, there's much more to be done to reduce our nation's dependence on foreign oil. I wish you the best success during this summit, and I look forward to hearing and seeing what develops from the ingenuity and can-do attitude from people of the Show Me State. Together, we found the key to the genetic code of the soybean. If we continue to work together, I know we can unlock our nation's next energy solutions. Good luck.
Good morning. I'm Senator Claire McCaskill, and I want to welcome you to the Missouri Energy Summit. This event is the first of its kind to focus on bringing together scientists, investors, business leaders, educators, and citizens from across our state and beyond to address our country's energy problems. I applaud the University of Missouri System's 4 campuses for leading the statewide economic development initiative, which underpins one of its key roles as the state's historic land-grant institution and my alma mater. What is most exciting to me is the level of collaboration which permeates this economic summit. As a native Missourian, I am particularly pleased to see the partnership across Missouri's high schools and colleges and universities on this topic, thanks to the Missouri Research and Education Network, known as MORENET, one of this country's first educational telecom networks. The discussions and learning that take place over April 22nd and 23rd here in Columbia are being extended to high schools across our state via MORENET in real time, and also available on the university's website to everyone after the summit has officially concluded. I hope this week's summit will have a far-reaching impact, and the spirit of collaboration will lead to new jobs in Missouri and will drive new energy solutions. Through the collaboration of education, industry, and federal, state, and local agencies, Our state is laying the foundation for a brighter energy future for our sons and daughters and their children. Like you, I believe energy independence is vital to our nation's national security. And I know the people of the Show Me State can be national leaders in cutting our dependence on foreign oil. The same American ingenuity that sent a man to the moon can show us the way to becoming an energy independent nation. I hope that this Energy Summit will catalyze Missouri's focus and capabilities around new technologies and increasing the development of viable alternative fuels. Missouri has all the building blocks we need to show our country and the world what we can do when we all pull together. Have a great summit. I look forward to seeing you and what you come up with. Thank you.
It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce one of our nation's most successful, innovative, and influential entrepreneurs, and our keynote speaker for this Energy Summit, Mr. T. Boone Pickens. No doubt you've heard and read about the Pickens Plan for reducing our nation's dependency on foreign oil. It's an ambitious plan, but coming from T. Boone Pickens, we should expect no less. Very few people in this world today embody big, bold, visionary thinking as does T. Boone Pickens. As his longtime associate, Bobby Stilwell, once said, quote, "The thing you have to understand about Boone is that it's all about action. There's no sitting around," unquote. Mr. Pickens built the largest independent oil company in the United States, then flourished as an entrepreneur after leaving it, generating hundreds of millions of dollars in the process. Among his many accolades, Financial World named him CEO of the Decade in 1989, and the Oil and Gas Investor listed him as one of the 100 most influential people of the petroleum century. During the span of his career, Boone has been a generous supporter of many worthwhile endeavors. He has been quoted as saying, quote, "I like making money, I like giving it away," unquote. The breadth of his philanthropy, nearly $700 million, includes medical research, athletics, and academic projects. The Chronicle of Philanthropy has twice included Boone on its list of top U.S. philanthropists. Certainly, when it comes to philanthropy, business deals, or ideas to improve our nation's energy policy, if T. Boone Pickens is behind it, you can bet it's going to be big. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm Missouri welcome to Mr. T. Boone Pickens.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been to Columbia twice. In 1998, I came as a special speaker's deal. I remember I spoke over to talked to in the law school, and then the other time I was here was last October. You remember. Well, anyway, we both like to beat Oklahoma, don't we? And Texas. I thought we had you lost, your team graduated, I know, and we have another year, and I thought, this is going to be great because Sam Bradford, Heisman winner from OU, will be leaving, and I thought Colt McCoy, University of Texas, will be leaving, and neither one of them left. What a break, Sam Bradford gets up and makes such a beautiful speech and said, "I've never had so much fun in all my life. Why would I leave?" Colt McCoy said, "I'm having fun too." And I sat there and I thought, well, we're going to play the same ones that beat us last year. So But we'll see how it turns out. And good luck to you. Let me tell you why I'm here. Time passed and I saw things happen in this country. I'll be 81 next month, so I'd been around a long time. I'm a geologist, was in the oil business forever. That's never had another business. And the first time I became aware of what politicians were saying and saying over and over again was with Richard Nixon in 1970 when he said, at the end of the decade, meaning the 70s, we will not be importing any oil from foreign countries. At the end of the 70s, we were importing 28%. When he made the remark, we were importing 24%. So, wrong. Then from that point forward, everybody that ran for president, either Democrat or Republican, would say, elect me and we'll be energy independent, as if it was some God-given right that they would have that happen to them. And then I talked to the J School a while ago that you've got to pin these politicians down and remember what they said and hold them to what they said. And nobody ever did. Nobody ever said to and you know, one of them was elected president after saying that. And nobody ever said, you know, 2 years ago, Mr. President, you said if you were elected, we would be energy independent. How are you coming on that plan? Nobody ever asked. Nobody ever asked. And I finally became so sensitive to it, I actually would bet people that when one of them would announce running. Excuse me, I'll tell you a story. Something like this happened in Midland, Texas. And they couldn't hear me. The audience couldn't hear me. And I was sitting in a chair and another person was here and he was asking me questions. And somebody came up from the audience and said, "We can't hear you." And I looked around and got up and I was sitting on the microphone. And I put it back on and said, "Well, you can say for the first 10 minutes he talked out of his ass." And the reporter put it in the Midland paper the next morning. My wife said, "Oh my gosh, what did you say?" And I said what he said I said. Well, anyway, as this unfolded over the years, I decided somebody has to tell American people that we are now importing more and more and more and more oil over the years, and that it's got to stop at some point, because actually the oil is coming from people that are not even friendly to us, and some that hate us. Venezuela, for instance. This guy's completely crazy. And he tells us, you know, he hates us. He's selling us oil because we're the best market for it. But he's made a deal now with the Chinese, and they'll have a refinery next year that will be able to process his crude. It's low gravity and high sulfur. And so that crude we can use it in our refineries, because our refineries are the most sophisticated refineries in the world. But now Chinese will have it, so the Venezuelan crude, that's 1 million barrels a day, that's going to go to China. And but he hates us, and some of the others I don't think like us very well. And I feel like that our importing foreign oil, buying it from unfriendly to enemies, that we are actually paying for both sides of the war. Now, it doesn't take a genius to figure this out. I mean, that's pretty clear that we have a lot of money going into the Mideast, and that's where a lot of our problems come from. So, you know, I think when do the American people understand that energy is something that's so important to us. Let me tell you how important. There are 85 million barrels a day produced in the world. And of the 85 million barrels, we use 21 million. That's 25%. And we only have 4% of the population. You say, well, we're more highly industrialized than anybody else. Well, you can say whatever you want to say. But we're using 25% of all the oil with 4% of the people. That is going to cause a great amount of problems for us at some point in the very near future. Because when the global economy picks up again, you're going to be back at the same spot where 85 million barrels is all the world can produce. And in the second half of 2008, it was projected that we were going to use 87 million barrels a day globally. Well, 85 won't cover 87, and the price of oil shot up because demand was greater than supply. You know how it all works. You're all here at the university, and we learn all these things in, I guess, Economics 101, that if demand exceeds supply, then the price has to go up. And the only way you can kill demand is with price. And that's what happened. The price went up. Demand was starting to be killed around $120 a barrel, and the economy slowed down all over the world, and demand dropped to 83 million barrels a day. Now, that's temporary. The day I launched the Pickens plan, and I've got to tell you, though, how I decided to do it, that I kept talking about it so much, my wife was starting to have a cauliflower ear, having to listen to me. And so in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, I said, Madeline, somebody has got to come out and explain the energy problems that are facing this country, and one, analyzing the problem, and then coming up with a solution for the problem. She said, yes, I think it's going to be you. But she said, let's go back to sleep and do it tomorrow. So that was the beginning. So in June, I put together a team of people that, and we did it. And we were very conscious of the success that Senator Obama had in his race for president. And so we brought in a couple of people that had worked on his campaign. We geared up to do a campaign that was presidential level. And I committed to the budget of $58 million with no help. I mean, I'm the Lone Ranger in the deal. That has great advantages and disadvantages. Disadvantage, you're going to pay for all of it. Advantage, you don't have to listen to anybody if you don't want to. But I do listen. I listen well, and I did put together the right team, and we did launch on that July the 8th, 2008. And that day, gasoline in Washington was $4.11 a gallon. So when you want to talk about energy, the best day to do it is when gasoline's $4.11, because everybody at that point is outraged and wants to blame whoever and everybody that's in sight for the problem. Well, it's not anybody's problem, one, but ours, and there's nobody to blame but us, you, me, and the rest of America. This will be approached, and is being approached, as a nonpartisan issue. It has nothing to do with politics. I went to Harry Reid, the majority leader, in June, and told him what I was going to do. And I said, you need to understand, Harry, that I'm out of politics. I put a lot of money in the last 40 years or whatever, but a lot of money, and I have been prominent in presidential elections on strategies and other things. But I said, I'm out. He said, okay, Boone, let me tell you, you were a mortal enemy of mine, a tough competitor, but an honorable person. And he said, if you tell me you're out, because I know you're truthful and I can trust you. And so he said, I will work with you and we'll solve this problem for America. And he's done everything he said he would do. I was then worked with Speaker Pelosi, who I did not know as well as I did Majority Leader Reid, but she welcomed me when Rahm Emanuel vouched for me and said he's out of politics and this is not a political issue. And she has worked very well with me. I've had private meetings with her. So I think I'm viewed by the Obama administration as a person that knows the subject and is willing to help and has no agenda other than America. So we launched. I could not believe how many people came to me on my website. Now we've had over 30 million people come into that website. We've signed up 1.5 million, 2 million people, as we call it, the Army. And that's what I want you to do today, is to come in on PickensPlan.com and sign up with me in the Army. And let me tell you why. This is going to be a model for America as to how you do something from the grassroots to Washington. It has nothing to do with politics. I keep saying that, and that's why this is one of the reasons why it will work. It's good for the country. What we're going to do will be done together, but it will be very much like war. But no guns, no people are going to be shot or killed. And so when we launched, and now I'm in this meeting, and I've had these meetings, I think I've been to every state, 13 states I haven't been to. And I have flown. Well, last month I was in the air 70 hours. I was on my airplane, and 70 hours is a lot of flying, I can tell you. And we made 54 landings. So it's been a pressure packed. I think it's extremely important. You say, well, why you? You know, kind of in America, when the mission comes up and lands on your desk or in your lap, I think people do step up to it. If they feel like they can do it, that the capability, they understand the subject, they have the money to do it, it's pretty hard to sidestep it. And so what do? You say, okay, this is my turn, so I serve. And that's the way I approach this. It has been way beyond what I thought I would be able to accomplish. But when I came out, there were two parts to what I wanted to do. One was renewable energy and a smart grid for the United States. The grid is old. It's managed state by state, which is hard for one state to work with another state. And I think the way that's going to unfold is Congress is going to give FERC the authority to give the siting for the grid and give the access to those corridors. And that will be, I hope, will come up pretty quick. Now, in the stimulus bill, that it was exactly what I wanted. It was wind, solar, and the grid. That came out in the stimulus bill. So I feel good about that. We're intact at that point. The second part of it was we have to reduce the dependency on foreign oil. We're now up to almost 70%. If we go forward 10 years, just exactly like we've done for 40 years, 40 years we've had no energy plan in America. Zero. None. Why? Well, you can always give the old, answer, well, we didn't have the leadership. Well, okay, I got that out of the way. So we didn't have the leadership, but we had cheap oil. We had cheap oil. We've never been tasked in this country to solve the energy problem for the country. So we now are coming up on that point where it has to be done. It has to be done because you know, and millions of people in this country know, that it has to be done. Not for me, but for the generations to come. My grandkids, great-grandkids. I can make it to the finish line and my standard of living won't change. But I can tell you, generations to come, it's going to be much, much different. If you go out 10 years, like we've gone 40 years in the past, and 10 years pass very, very fast, that 10 years from now, 2019, we will be importing 75% of our oil, and we will be paying $300 a barrel for it. That's $2 trillion a year. Now, you have solved two problems with that. You can forget health care and you can forget education, because you aren't going to have the money to address either one of them. You have spent your money on oil from the enemy. Now, if you think you look smart at this point, you don't. You, me, I'm talking about, us. We don't look very smart. If we go 10 years longer, we're going to fall in the stupid category. That's right. That's exactly what's going to happen to us. So we can't let it happen. A guy said to me one time, said, you know, Pickens said, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Just in case you didn't plant it 20 years ago, the second best day is today. We have had no energy plan for 40 years. We have to have a plan. Today, we have to get our ore in the water. We have got to start doing something for this country, generations to come. It's happening. This administration, I told you the first step's in place. We're going to have the grid. We're going to have the renewables. Okay, second, natural gas is the only resource we have in America that can directly reduce foreign oil. Now you say, oh, wait a minute. We can find a lot of oil in the United States that could replace the foreign oil. That's true. Theoretically, that's true. But let me tell you, most of the oil's been found. And don't have the idea to drill off the East Coast, the West Coast, the Eastern Gulf of Mexico, and Anwar on the Arctic coastal plain, that the oil is there to solve the problem. It isn't. It isn't. Those are areas that are really not that attractive from geological. I'm a geologist, and I can speak of this with experience and authority, that those are not really attractive areas to look for oil. But I'm not opposed to drilling. Remember again, when I started, I think, I said that I'm for anything that's American. I'm for anything American. I don't want the foreign oil. It's what I want to get away from. Okay, the natural gas is the only fuel that moves an 18-wheeler. When I met with McCain in August and met with Obama 4 days later, they asked me to come in and talk to them about energy. Both of them said, I want to get on the battery as quick as we can. And I said, you realize the battery doesn't move an 18-wheeler. It doesn't move an 18-wheeler. And both of them said, it doesn't. They do not. They hadn't had the experience, but they did not understand energy in America. And that is a big part of your problem. Washington does not understand energy. But I can tell you, I have elevated the understanding of energy way beyond where it's ever been before. And we are getting results. So we now have a bill filed, H.R. 1835, and this is called the Natural Gas Act. That bill was filed 2 weeks ago, and that is a good bill. And it does bring natural gas to the fore, and it will be used in the heavy-duty equipment. So that is going to happen. How's it going to happen? Our submittal to the transition team said if we do 350,000 18-wheelers, and there's 6.5 million in America, we're going to do 350,000, that will create 450,000 jobs, and it will reduce dependency by 4% on foreign oil. That will be the first reduction in the last 45 years on foreign oil. But we can do that. But it is a model. I'm a guy that goes from models. I don't go from research and development because I'm too old. That takes time to R&D it. I go back and get a model that's worked, and I use Southern California model on they had an air quality problem, And they solved it by taking the trash trucks over to natural gas in a seamless transfer. The way it worked was no more diesel trash trucks. If you buy a new one, you have to buy natural gas. And then they gave them $50,000 to incent them to do that. What did they do? Now over half the trash trucks are on natural gas. Air quality is cleared up. One diesel trash truck taken off the road in Southern California is equivalent to 325 cars. So they went after the biggest polluter, and the results were excellent. You're going to do the same thing on these 18-wheelers. Do 350,000 of them. The incremental cost will come down, and natural gas will be equivalent then to diesel engine. Right now it's more expensive, so you incent them to do it. And then you're on your way. The oar's in the water. You're paddling, and we are getting out of the problem. We can be, in 10 years, we can be completely off of oil out of the Mideast, Venezuela, and Africa, the unstable areas that we rely on for oil. Okay, I've given you the problem. I've given you the solution. It all can be done, but it'll be done because of us. And the way it unfolds is that this is going to be the first grassroots, bipartisan deal that was pushed on Washington. But fortunately, we have an administration that wants it. That is good. We want it. They want it. They want it solved. They understand it. Obama he says frequently that energy is one of his most important points in his administration, and that that energy in 10 years we will not be importing any oil from the Mideast. The only way he can make that statement and have any meaning to it is that he has a plan. He has a plan. The only fuel he can use to reduce foreign oil is natural gas. Natural gas will bridge us 20 to 30 years is what it'll do. We have an abundance of natural gas in this country. It's cheaper. It's 30% cleaner than diesel. What an opportunity for America. A window of opportunity that did not exist 10 years ago, not even 5 years ago. But we have developed natural gas in these shale basins. The first big one that was developed was the Barnett, which was in the Fort Worth Basin. Then we had the Haynesville over in North Louisiana. Then we had up in Appalachia, we had the Marcellus, Fayetteville in Arkansas, the Woodford in Oklahoma, the Barnett in West Texas, and then there's a huge one up at Horn River in British Columbia. So the fuel is there, the will is with us, and we've got to do it. So when I'm going to conclude and go to questions, but again, remember, what I'm talking about is about us, and we have to do it together. You've got to join with me. I need you. I seriously need you. And you don't want to stick this old 80-year-old guy with all the responsibility. Okay, thanks. Okay, questions? Microphone here and over here. Okay. You don't have any questions? I've got a joke. I've got one. Just a second. I want to tell you this joke. Okay, these two women are going down Travis Street in Houston, and there's a frog in the gutter, and the frog says, "Stop, ladies, I have something to tell you." Well, you'd stop too if a frog said that to you. And so they stopped to look down. He said, "Pick me up." And one of them reached down and picked him up. He said, I have had this horrible spell cast over me, and I'm really a Texas oil man. And if you'll kiss me, I'll turn back into a Texas oil man. Woman looked at him, opened her purse and put him down in it, closed it, started walking down the street. Her friend said, "Why didn't you kiss him and turn him into a Texas oil man?" She said, "Listen, honey," said, talking frogs are worth a hell of a lot more today than Texas A&M. Okay, question.
Hi, Mr. Pickens. My
Hi.
name is Julie D. I'm from the small town of Rocheport, 15 miles down the way. Thank you. I just lost my father 15 days ago, and he wanted to be here. So that's just a little aside. My question for you is, as a small community, what can we be doing? What can I be doing? I've been on your website and was wondering if you are empowering us to go out and bring our community together and have meetings that educate, as you're doing today, on our situation.
Okay.
Do we have permission to do that from you at the grassroots level?
You do.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry your father's not here today.
Thank you.
I imagine we would have a lot in common.
Yes, you would.
What I ask you to do is get informed. And you are going to have, I said, this is the greatest window of opportunity in America that I've seen that all of us can be a part of. What you want to do is get informed, and this is going to unfold in this year. It's going to be very, very fast. This administration is they're hell bent on doing some things on energy. And I don't disagree with them on anything they're doing on energy. I'm more enthusiastic for some than others. How's that? It's kind of like if somebody says something to you about somebody you don't particularly like, you say, you know, that of all the people I love him least of all. And so but they do have some great things in it, and I'm not at odds with them on anything. I had a meeting day before yesterday with Secretary Chu, Secretary of Energy, and he knows what his mission is, and he's going to do it. What I want you to do is to get on my website, and I will feed you all the information I have. Now, you're going to get information from other sources too, and you may want to put some of that back to me. I mean, I get data points from everywhere, and so, but get informed, get in communication, get in touch, and there are going to be opportunities, but play this out this year. Don't rush to get into anything. Right now, there's some financing problems with wind, for instance, and those are going to be worked out this year. And solar has got some issues too, but just let this come. Let the Natural Gas Act be voted on in the House first, and Senate. It will have a bill within 2 weeks. I think they'll go to conference, and they're going to have very few things they're going to have to be negotiated on it. So you're going to see it happen. Be a part of it, because you'll go back 10 years and say, I never will forget being in that auditorium, and we talked about energy there in Columbia, and you know the way this has unfolded is kind of like he said it was going to. And so, but you need to have the team feeling, and because you know when you're on there and you're learning more and more about it, that the way it's, you know, at that point you're going to say, you know, there are a lot of other people that are doing the same thing today at this very time. So I hope I didn't feel like I sidestepped your question.
No, not at all.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Mr. Pickens, hi, I'm Steve Kidwell. I'm a vice president with an energy company here in the state, and my question is about plug-in hybrid vehicles. What role do you see them playing in the future alongside natural gas? Okay, hybrid vehicles, it's American. It has one weakness to it. There's one side of it, of course, is electric. The other side of it is going to be foreign gasoline. And you could go hybrid with natural gas and electricity on it. But I encourage hybrid vehicles because it is better than foreign oil and 100% gasoline or diesel. But hybrids are not going to move an 18-wheeler. And that technology is going to develop, and we're going to, and let's just say that I think that you're going to use natural gas to bridge you out. Al Gore and I get in these discussions all the time, and Al says, I think we're going to have a battery that can do everything for us within 10 years. I said, if we do, Al, do it. Natural gas is such a valuable resource. It has hundreds of uses
that could be used and not for transportation. So it is a bridge for us, but I see it in 20 years, you're going to be over to where we're battery or we're going to be fuel cell. It's going to be one or the other is going to do it for us, and we're going to be totally off of hydrocarbons. Yes, go ahead.
My question was, if you want a grassroots movement, it's obvious that you would have to get a lot of young people involved as well.
That's right.
And just in general, do you have a plan to get younger folks involved as well in getting this plan moved forward?
I do. You're perfect for me. You're young and you look like you're pretty damn strong. So but yes, I do. I've been to the University of Michigan. I've been to Rice, University of Texas, Oklahoma State, of course. I've been to Sewanee the other day in the University of the South. I've been to, well, I think it's 20 universities. And I pick up, we can tell when you come on board from a university to me, we can see, what the activity is. And yes, but I do need you. Of course I do. But at the same time, you need my plan. There's no other plan out here to solve your problem. So it's kind of like when you go back and think about it, I said, hey, look, I need that guy as much as he needs me. That's right. We need each other. And so, yes, you need to sign up. You need to get everybody in your dormitory or wherever you're sleeping or hanging out or whatever, that everybody comes on board. Because, and the young people that are the ones that need this the most. There's one right there.
Mr. Pickens, it's a true honor to be here today, to be part of this grassroots initiative movement, and to be on your plan. My question is, as a new college student, if you had the experience and the knowledge today to go back in time to when you was 20 years old, what degrees would you get in college if you went back to college? Would you stay with the geology?
Well, that question is often asked me. It's
would you stay with the geology and the oil, or would you go over to these renewable resources?
I'll tell you, energy, and you can, then comes under energy, of course, oil, gas, wind, solar, and on down the list. You're going to see a lot this year that could very well give you direction where you want to place your career. And so if I had it to do over again, I liked what happened. I mean, it worked out pretty good.
Thank you.
But I was at a graduation 2 years ago, and it just came to me because I was looking at it was just before noon, and I was making the commencement speech, and I was looking at the candidates for graduation there, and they were starting to, kind of look off, and I knew that either I wasn't entertaining or they were getting hungry. And I said, and it just came to me, but I looked at them and I said, let me tell you, I'm going to make you a proposition today. You listen really close to me, because this proposition, I can't fulfill and you can't either. But it's going to cause you to think about this, what I'm getting ready to propose. I said, you're looking at me and you're saying, oh, that rich old guy, I want to go out there and get what he's got. And those thoughts have gone through your head. Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll trade with any one of you today. You think about that. I said, I will get in your chair and you get up here. And you have what I've got and I've got what you have. And what you have is a future. A future is totally out there. I mean, it can be as big as you want to make it. And so I went further. I said, and so I've got your seat. Now you have my seat. You have a Gulfstream airplane. You have a ranch. You're worth several $1 billion. You have, 3 cars. You have all these things. You're also, this was 3 years ago, so you were 78 years old. Don't forget that. And I'm 18. When I got through, there were half a dozen of them came up to me. How big is your ranch? Do you have a Gulfstream 550 or is it a 450? It was interesting because it made them think, though. They truly did think. And it's so important what you have here in this university, what you have and what you have to look forward to. Don't let any of it get away. It's serious. Your future's serious, but have a good time too.
Well, this is the last question. Oh, Mr. Pickens, again, it's an honor for me to be here. And it's nice to see a gentleman with such vim and vitality, such as yourself.
At such advanced age.
Be that as it may. Anyway, my question is, what is your take on ethanol / biodiesel as a viable energy source?
I'm for it. I'm for America. Those are made in America.
But I know a lot of people have...
ethanol works. There's no question it works.
I know a lot of people have said that it's going to drive up food prices, but...
Well, I don't know. I never did see an analysis on that I thought was exactly right. That it did. It made sense to me. And it's... but ethanol, you know, there's no question it works. I'd rather see cellulosic, but we're not there yet. But we will be there. But when this opens up, and I'll conclude with this, but when this opens up, and we are tasked in this country to solve our problem, you are going to have unbelievable ideas. Now, I met in a round table here with deans and faculty members earlier today, and they wanted to talk about things that they were doing, ideas that they had. Conserving energy was one that we got on. We also were on the grid. They talked about some things I didn't understand. This geologist, you know, I mean, I'm not an engineer, and I don't know all about everything on energy, but I'm pretty well informed. But what's going to happen when we're tasked to do it? Americans can do it. We can do it, and it's going to unfold this way. I think that we're going to have a president that's going to stand up there in front of us and say, we've got to get off of foreign oil, and we are going to get on our own resources. And this is the way it's going to work. And he tells us, and he says, in a month from now, we're going to have another meeting. I'm going to get back in touch with you, and this is the way it's going to go. We're going to start to watch our imports. And every month, I am going to tell you how much oil we're importing. And we're going to start bringing it down. We're going to start bringing it down. We're 67% this month. Next month, we may be 67, we may be 68. But 6 months out, we may be 64. And we're going to bring it down, and we are going to bring it down together. And when he gets up there and does that, there are going to be more ideas that will come available to us in this country on what we do about energy. I'm telling you, I've had town hall meetings all over the country. Fargo, North Dakota, McAllister, Oklahoma, Lamar, Colorado, Topeka, all over the place I have been. The questions are pretty similar wherever you go. But everybody is becoming concerned about it, and when that happens, Al Gore made a really interesting remark the other day. I was at Wall Street Journal economic conference at Santa Barbara, California, and Al had made his remarks. I made mine first, and then he made his. And I had a question for him. I said, Al, look, you get all these people in this room, and you got 100 people. And I said, 90 of them, if you said, are you with me? 90 of them would raise their hand. 10 of them are asleep. And I said, I can do the same thing. I can get 90 out of 100 that'll go with me on what I want to do. But I said, when does the ball move, Al? When do we move it and quit talking about it? When is your global warming going to go? When is something going to happen? And he said, let me tell you, I've been in politics all my life. There are tipping points in this country. He said, if you go back to civil rights in the 60s, when they hosed a peaceful crowd down in Alabama, hosed them down, he said, the kids went home and said, why'd they do that? And the parents didn't have an answer. Why would you hose down peaceful people? Why would you? He said that was a tipping point for civil rights change. was that hosing down of peaceful people. He said, we're at a tipping point in America. We are there. And you know, I thought about that a lot. I've talked to a lot of people. I've watched crowds, audiences, questions. We are at a tipping point. You are, I am, we are together. We are at a tipping point. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Across the other way.
Thanks. Great. Thank you. Thanks.
We now invite members of the media to speak with Mr. Pickens in room 220.
We will begin the research officers panel shortly. We appreciate your attendance at the Pickens presentation. Please feel free to stay for the technical discussions as well.